Today's topic is going to be all about love, baby, because that's what everyone's all about, is love, 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 love. That's what all the music's about. That's what everyone's talking about. That's what everyone's looking for. So what really is it? That's the big question. How do I know I have it? And how do I know it's going to stay with me if I am in love? Is it possible to have love right at the beginning? Or is it what all these married people say? You don't have love right at the beginning. You only have it later on. We are going to be speaking about right there, right here, right tonight. And we are excited. What is love? How do you know if you have it? And how do you know how long it's going to last and if it's going to last? So we're going to leave that to Shira.
All right. I'm totally ready. So as you said, hopefully I'm going to cover how can I tell I'm in love and how can I tell that the love will last. So there's two things I would like to discuss. But in general, we all need to understand that in a relationship, we have three aspects that are extremely important. We have to have all three in order to make it a successful relationship. The first thing we have is knowledge, which is the mind, the intellect. Then we have chemistry, which is the heart, the feelings. And we obviously have also intimacy. So chemistry, as we know, the feelings, the emotions, the heart. Many singles are asked, how can you tell when you're in love? Many people say that they're in love. So when you ask, and we asked that in the past, so how can you tell that you are in love? So people said all different, answers, but pretty much the same idea. I feel a strong feeling. I have an intuition. I just know. I think about the person all the time. I just want to be with them all the time. I'm excited around them. I'm happy around them. Things like that. It's all to do with the feelings. Now, we understand that chemistry is extremely important for a relationship, but relying only on chemistry to define love for us is obviously not good enough. Feelings come and feelings go. How do we know it's going to last? So we're going to discuss a few things here. People literally walk around, and we've heard that a lot, walk around and think that love is just unstable. Like the weather sometimes, one day it's sunny, one day it's rainy. And for many, that means that in order to play it safe for themselves, they're always maintaining this this strategy of kind of like safe exit and not committing. And that's a problem that a lot of people have today, that I don't know if I should commit to this person. There's many other girls or many other guys out there. Maybe I'm missing out on something. So that's definitely something that's out there. And also it's another thing that we realize that it's pretty sad that when you see a couple and you see that they're in love, you see that they're happy, people assume either that they're dating or that they're newly married. No one is thinking they're 20 years in or something like that. So in other words, people recognize that feelings doesn't always last forever. Therefore, we can't rely on chemistry only to define our relationship, to decide based on that if this is going to be the person or not. We have to have the other components as well. Now, again, like I said before, chemistry is a third that's really important, and we need it. We can't without it, but it can't be the only thing. Now, I'll move on to another thing, which is, the second thing, the knowledge, the intellect, which I will refer, as we go along, also as the mind. So when Adam and Eve got together in Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden, it says that Adam yada et Chava ishto. Adam knew his wife Eve. Now, this is not just an expression for physical intimacy. It means that he really, truly knew her and he loved her for who she was. Now, their relationship was based on mutual understanding of each other's virtues and values and character and really knowing the person. Now, let's give an example here. And I think I think you gave it in the past, but I think it's really important and easy for this, stage that we're talking about. let's say a girl called Stacy. There's no Stacy here. She walks into coffee shop, Starbucks, Coffee Bean, whatever, and she's like on her lunch break. She has some folders in her hand and she's trying to order a coffee, and then she drops her stuff and she's about to pick it up, but a really cute guy comes and start helping her and helping her pick the papers or whatever it is on the floor. And she's looking at him, he's looking at her, and there's something there. She feels something. Now, I'd like to ask you, what do you think she's experiencing right now? Out of these three things that we're talking about, the mind, the heart, or intimacy, what do you think she is actually experiencing?
Connection.
Sorry,
Maybe it's hard.
Okay, yes, she is feeling a connection, and we connect in three ways. Either in the mind, or in the emotions, in the heart, or we connect through intimacy, physically. Which one of the three of this? There's a feeling of connection going on. There's electricity going on. Which one of the three is going on? Is it the mind? Exactly. Is it the heart? Or is it the intimacy, the desire to touch them, to hug them? Which one would you say?
Physical attraction, because she wants to touch him.
Okay, so you say she wants to touch. There's no other thoughts of like, oh wow, this guy's cute, or
Yeah, no, she's like, he's really cute. Like,
so would you say her heart's being touched in any way? Anyone got some thoughts?
I think heart. I think it's her heart.
Okay, Dan says a heart. Anyone else?
But like in the Judaism perspective of like heart, not the norms.
Maybe it's like a mix.
A mix of which ones?
Like the heart and maybe a little bit of the mind, just because it's kind of, or maybe more intimacy, just because they're kind of seeing, I'm attracted to this person.
Good.
Kind of turn to emotion. So maybe more intimacy and heart.
Good.
Right.
So you're saying more, and we see that from everyone. It's more intimacy, more heart. So we're getting somewhere.
Right. You mentioned
a little bit of everything.
Who said that? Julia. So I want to ask you back. If we say a little bit of everything, what does she know about him? Where is the mind here?
Well, she's thinking of it. Like, it's not that you have that connection, but it's that you think you have that connection. It's in your head.
Okay. So when we're talking about knowledge, for example, we talk about, knowing the person's virtues, knowing them. So at this point, she knows zero about this person. There's no knowledge. There's no mind here.
Okay, then I'm going to go back.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's more heart and it's more
right.
Heart
you have more of I would say the emotion, the physical part, but you have nothing else. It could be that this guy literally right out of jail. Does she know anything about it? Nothing. So I would say, to summarize this, I'll put it into she probably has the other two, but knowledge is not here. There's nothing, no background. She doesn't know anything about the person. Now,
Shira,
Ken,
do you think that said Ken, that was funny. Do you think that it's that they may be influencing one another? Like the fact that she has such a big feeling towards this person that she may think like that, it's kind of diving a little bit deeper into the idea that she may quote unquote know him when she doesn't really know him at all. Like, how would we really gauge between those three different things? Where is the fine line between, okay, yeah, this one's more an intellectual understanding, this one's more feeling, and this one's more physical. Everything is a mesh of between.
I think, first of all, time will give you some answers, because the first time you meet someone right there in the coffee shop and you just had a blink of nothing, pretty much, just looking at them, you really don't know anything about them. You can't say that there's knowledge there. It's maybe there's understanding that, hey, I'm attracted to this person, but that's physical. You don't know anything about them, so you'll have to take it further. I'm not saying this is bad. This can be a start of something, but you have to make sure, and we're going to touch on that you have to have the other aspects in this relationship to make sure it's long lasting and not just another like something for like a few months and then it goes away. Is there anything you want
I want to say that we're going to be talking later on, and when I jump in later on, that there's different types of knowledge. Okay, and that's really what we're trying to do, is define what it means when it says that when Adam and Eve got together, they knew each other. Definitely doesn't mean that they exchanged stuff and that's it, right? They knew each other more than that. And that's what we're trying to redefine, is what is the knowledge that's involved? What is knowledge? What does it mean to know someone? And how is that to do with love in any way? So that's really what we're going to dig into right now. And we're going to be getting into defining clearly, what does it mean to know someone?
Okay, does that make sense?
Got it. Thanks.
Okay. All right. So now after we spoke about, we have the three parts, we have the chemistry, we have knowledge, and obviously we have intimacy, and we do need to have all three. I want to discuss, I would say, probably two types of relationships that come out of these things. And that's, the first one would be the shooting star relationship. And that is rushing into a relationship without the knowledge of the other person. That could happen to this Stacy, for example. She feels something, they swap numbers, and then they start whatever. I mean, they are in touch right now. Immediate attraction, like we say, and then they assume the relationship is literally meant to be. They invest their heart and soul into it, and then they discover that this relationship doesn't necessarily have a future, based on them starting to get to know each other and things that they didn't even look at before. I'll give you an example. We'll take Tom and a different Stacy, okay? Not the same one, not with a coffee shop. Let's say Tom is 27. He's positive, outgoing, he's working. Stacy is 25. She's very into fitness. She's, in fact, Olympic gymnast. And somehow they met each other. Now, Tom realized right away, he knew he's really attracted to her. And after, I would say, just a few dates or whatever, maybe 2 months or something, like he feels like real strong feelings. And then they decided eventually they're moving in together. Like they're moving really fast with this relationship. And I would say that the first thing that got him was this feelings that he gets when he's around her. Now, I would say that in this case, after about 6 months, this relationship is ending. Now, Tom realizes he's trying to analyze what has happened in the past 6 months. And he's realizing that she wasn't as good as he thought. She had, I would say it in a nice way, problems with commitments. They were talking about dating exclusively, but he found out that when they were going out, she was swapping a number with another guy that she liked at the bar or whatever. He realized over time that she's not really committed to him. She's not as good as he thought she was. And then what he realized, that from the very beginning, he was what drove him to move forward with this relationship was the chemistry, the feelings. He realized that he doesn't really know much about her values. They never really were that deep. And that's something that was missing in the relationship. So after a few months or whatever, up to 6 months, this ended. He realized she's not really there for him. She's not committed. She's not a good person like he thought. And it's over. He wasn't willing to be in such a relationship. But then it's, heartbreaking and a lot of waste of time, because you feel like, oh my gosh, like this person is using me or used me, and I thought they're committed to me, but they're not. Their mind is in a completely different place. And I would say that in our generation, or in our society in general, we're trained to evaluate relationships solely on feelings. What do you feel? Feelings of attraction. Like the movies, the fairy tales, the intellect doesn't really play a role in all these relationships, which is obviously not a good thing, because that means these relationships don't have, I wouldn't say high percent of success rate and being long lasting relationships. And as we know, investing heavily in a relationship before you truly know the person, you pretty much waste your time and you break your heart and the other person as well. So in focus dating, that's something that we definitely focus on. You learn that you need both. You need the chemistry, you need the heart, and you need the knowledge, the mind, the intellect to really get to know the person. You need to be able to articulate specific reasons why you love this person. Mutual values, not just interests. You know, I love sports, she loves sports, we like to go to the beach, we whatever. We like to cook. There's more than that. And you need to find out about that person, how they are around other people, you know, their character trait. Maybe they get angry too quickly, or they don't. They're easygoing, they're forgiving, they're compassionate, they have courage, they're honest. There's many things that you can find out about the person, but you need to look out for these things. You need to try and look out for it and not just be blinded with your emotions and feelings that can kick in right at the beginning. Before I move on to the second relationship, is there anything you want to add?
No, that's amazing.
Okay. So the second type, which is, I think, really important to talk about this one, is the buried treasure relationship. And that means that, you know, many people, I would say that they believe that if you don't have intense feeling right at the beginning, like the first date of two, they believe that this relationship won't last or it's the wrong person. But in fact, you should know that 30% of long-lasting relationships do start with not strong feelings towards the other person. It's feelings that over time you develop, and these things can happen. So it doesn't mean when you meet someone and you don't have like these butterflies and strongest feelings at the beginning, but yet the intellect works and you do admire them, you do have respect for them, they have values, like they have a lot that you can connect to, don't drop them right away. Obviously, we got, you know, it needs to be spoken about how long, because you're not going to waste your time. There's the aspect, obviously, that you, like we said before, you do need to have the chemistry. You do need to have attraction. But I'm talking about, let's say, in the language that people talk today, you know, like we said last time as well. If chemistry and like the attraction is not 10, but there is something, you know, maybe 5. So you don't drop the person right away for that because you don't, you know, maybe you expected more. You're gonna have to give it a chance, at least if you want to make sure you're not missing out on the right person. You do give it some more time to see if something develops in the relationship and it brings up, ignites the feelings. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that sometimes you can be going out with someone more serious, and because they're more serious, the chemistry part wasn't able to develop because you're talking about serious things. The person's actually a deep person. It's a more of a serious type date that the chemistry is kind of, there's attraction 100%. Everyone would be like, wow, right? It's 100% attraction. But there's not this major feeling of chemistry because the girl is actually respectful, or the guy is a respectful guy, the girl's a respectful girl, and they're not jumping straight into that area to develop that chemistry, to awaken that chemistry so quickly. So it could very well be, and I'm just throwing this in, that the reason why there's not major amounts of, she's a number 10, he's a number 10, but you still don't feel this major chemistry. Why? And it could be because you're actually having serious conversations and you're looking at them as a human being and not just as flesh. You know, you're looking at them as for who they really are. And that's actually sometimes a good indicator when you're looking at somebody in the right way and you're not allowing, or because of the way that they're acting and they're very reserved and respectful, and you're respectful, the guy's respectful, so the way they're acting, they're not expressing the chemistry. That's why you're not feeling it. But it doesn't mean that it's not there. And don't worry, it will come when it's allowed to come. But I'm just pointing out this point that the heart is not the only indicator, and that's what she was saying. Yeah. The heart is not the only indicator in what love, or in what gets me towards love. It's also the mind, it's also the intellect, it's also knowing the person. And we need to also look for that.
Right. And yeah, it was important to mention that because for some people, as soon as, they say, well, I didn't feel anything, but I do have a lot of respect to that person, or like they're really amazing and they inspire me the way they are and whatever, but I don't have. So I would say, and speaking to professionals in the field, they say like, yeah, you have to give it a chance if you really want to make sure you're not missing out on, could be Mr. or Miss Right, like we said. So, it's definitely something to think about. And I would say, again, it's not like when we talk about giving a chance and trying to see, we're not talking about like a year. We're talking about a few dates, maybe a few short months, but every case is very different and very individual. So it's not something that I'm going to generalize right now and say specific timeline, but it's something to be aware of, something to think about when you enter something and you might not necessarily feel that, feel those feelings. Okay, so there's another, so I would say, I would like to summarize. So what I said just now, the key to effective and focused dating is realizing that lasting love has both the emotional and the intellectual components, and we have to make sure that in our relationship, we are finding it. A relationship based only on feelings will burn out, and a relationship that based only on intellect without the spark cannot ignite, will never ignite. It will never happen. So obviously we have to make sure we have both. So I think I kind of summarized that. I would like to add, to open for questions, unless you have also anything you want to add before you move on to the next.
Okay, so after that, we're going to be moving into what really is love. In case you're going to ask this right now, I'm going to tell you, hey, we're getting into that.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about what is love, and then what's really knowledge of the person. What does that mean? Okay. And that connects to how do we get to love in general. It's really important that you focus on what I'm going to tell you in this class in general. It's really important because we really believe that our generation today has got it so wrong in this area, and it's so obvious that these are the values that we need to look for. So, are there any questions or thoughts of what we said till now?
Yay!
Yeah, you can have amazing compatibility with someone, and then something will still never happen due to all sorts of reasons. But I think it's important to mention that as well.
Meaning, you're saying that it could be that everything's good, there is chemistry, there is mind, there's everything, and it just doesn't work out.
I meant compatibility as contrasted with chemistry, right? We talked about chemistry, and then compatibility is everything on paper.
Right.
Everything on paper could look amazing, right? But chemistry still doesn't get formed for whatever reasons.
100%.
Right, so exactly. So if you don't have that chemistry, then it's obviously not going to go anywhere. You have to have all. That's what we say. Okay, I definitely agree with that. Anyone else want to add anything? And I actually have something that I would like to mention, but I'll wait for more questions maybe. Anyone? Ooh, it seems like pretty clear.
You don't have to unmute just to make us happy.
No. I mean,
only if you have a question.
So I would like to add one more thing because I feel like from my discussions and meetings with a lot of people lately, a lot of people actually ask, so, okay, we're talking about virtues. What is virtues? What is like values? What am I supposed to like look in the other person? And then I kind of like made a list of like a few things, and I mentioned some before, just to give you an idea what we're even talking about. So when I say values, obviously I'm talking about, it could be also Jewish values, family values, whatever that is, whatever level you are. Honesty, courage, like we said before, generosity, being fair, self-control. You can see these things sometimes on the person depending on, now it's hard, by the way, because it's like virtual if anyone is dating. So it's all virtual. You don't really see the person if they're not local. So you can't always pick on a lot of the things like self-control or seeing how they are respecting other people or respecting their family, their parents. Sometimes it's hard, but when it's normal time, you should be able to kind of like get these things and even talk about things. Now, and a few people also asked, so, okay, whatever. I never thought about it. I wasn't very deep, but I want to be deep. I want to work on myself. I want to do it. So how do I develop these virtues? And obviously, and that's I mean, it's an obvious answer. It's through learning and practicing. You learn something, you learn, character trait, you learn how to work on yourself, but then you also do it. You work on it. It's a lifetime of work, I feel. But eventually you make it happen. So that I just had to add that because it's a question that usually people ask me. I'll give it away to you. I feel like I've spoken too long.
No. I'm going to actually deepen into that concept here on what are virtues and what does that really mean. So first, I just want to throw in here, what is love? What does that really mean? And also, what is not love? Because by knowing what's not love, we will be able to actually know what love is. Okay, so love is not how you make me feel. And the great example was given by Rabbi Dessler, which is the example of the fish. You walk into the restaurant and they're serving you fish, and you sit down and you eat it, and you're sitting with your date, and they say, wow, you looks like you really like fish. You're all into it. The names and the way you mention it and the way you talk about it, you really like fish. Yes, I love fish. You love fish? Oh my gosh, how do you love fish? I love fish so much.
The way it feels.
Exactly. If you really love fish, wouldn't you put it in an aquarium and look after it? Why have you got it nicely on the plate for you to dig into and eat? Right? So what do you really like when you say you love fish? We use that word a lot. We throw around the word love a lot. But what do I really mean when I say I love fish?
He said that.
Joseph, you were saying something?
I think no, just
Marty?
said it before.
It's no, you like the way the fish makes you feel, you like the way it tastes.
Good. I like the way it makes me feel. I like the taste. Let's get deeper. What do I really like?
Go on, Joseph. Deeper.
Dan, go on. Tell me, what do I really like?
So go deeper, Dan.
Any fish makes you feel, I don't know.
The physical sensation on the taste buds of how the fish tastes.
Good.
Could be any other fish.
I'm liking, now that I like, what do I mean when I like my taste? I like taste. What does that mean?
Like the experience.
I like the experience. I like myself. Right?
Rabbi, this is so deep.
Well,
so this is deep.
Just
but
about
it's real
eating
because
fish.
Welcome to this class. This is what happens.
Yeah, I never thought that we would understand what it's like to be so deep about it. It's crazy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's love. It's going to be deep.
Love must be deep, Daniel.
Otherwise, it's not love. Okay, so but what we really want to do is make sure that I'm not, when I say I love something, and we throw that word around all the time, and what we're confusing it with is lust. We're confusing lust with love. Lust is how I feel. Love is really how I want to make you feel. Okay? So the perfect example of what is love, I would say it's, and tell me if you believe me or not, but I would say it's more of a verb than anything else. You hear what I'm telling you? It's more of a verb than anything else, which means it's an act. It's an act of wanting to include the other within your own space. It's the desire to expand yourself so the other person can be part of you. Like it says, love your neighbor like you love yourself. What does it mean to love yourself? I'll tell you what it means to love yourself. If my left arm hurts, right, my whole body is feeling that pain. When my right arm's not like ha, that it's by nature it's me. Even though my arm, like Rabbi Klatzko mentioned yesterday, is not really me, because you don't define a person by their arm, right? That's what I have. But when I get upset with something, if something which is within me hurts, I love myself, meaning I tolerate myself. That's what love is. Am I willing to tolerate that other person completely? The desire to expand myself enough to bring that person within my space. That's love. And that's what it means, love your neighbor like you love yourself. And that's why, by the way, the word love, but in the root of it, means to give, have, which means to give, because it's a verb. It's love is an act of giving to the other as opposed to yourself. When I think of my child and I love my child, the love is so deep, and we're getting deep here, right? But the love is so deep. I'll take a bullet for my child. There's no way. That love is so deep, I can't even describe it. So there's this concept of including when I eat, my child's eating with me. That proves I love my child. There are parents, you could say, that they're not treating their child right, and you'll look at them and you'll say, they don't love their child. And you ask the parent, they say, I love my child. What do you mean? But the way that they are screaming at them and talking to them, you see, it's not just about saying that I'm in love with my child, it's acting in the love with my child. And the same is with a relationship. You could say, I'm in love, but really maybe it's about yourself. If you're really in love, you will not put that fish on a plate, you would look after the fish. And it's the same with your child, it's the same with yourself, right? Some people hate themselves. What does that mean? They can't tolerate themselves. They would rather not exist. Some people are lacking love within themselves. What does that mean? They can't let others exist. They're so negative right now. They don't want anyone to exist. I hate my parents. I hate myself. I hate my life. Right? That's the lack of love within. So, there's a loving person. What does that mean? The desire to include others within your own space. Are you willing one day to be a loving person, to open your home, it's acting on it, not just saying you have it. Saying you have it sometimes is more like you are thinking about your own feeling as opposed to the other person's feeling. Is everyone with me right here? Because this is so important to understanding what love is. Yeah, it's really, really important. So here's a very important point. Empathy is a sign of love. Sympathy is not. Sex is not. That's not a sign that you're in love. Now, it's the holiest thing in Judaism. It's called the Holy of Holies, being in a physical, intimate relationship. It's the holiest thing in the right place. It's the holiest thing. But it's not an indicator of love. No way. It's an indicator, it could be, of lust. It could be of how I'm feeling. The greatest indicator of love is when I empathize with the person in front of me. I don't just say, oh, I'm so sorry. I feel your pain. It's like the great story. I forgot who it was, the famous story of a great rabbi who went to the hospital and said, our leg is hurting. He was talking about his wife. She had an infection on her leg, and he said, our leg is hurting us. And the doctor was like, wow, but that's your wife, right? But it just came naturally. Empathy means that it's like yourself. When your left arm is hurting, your right arm is hurting with it, right? It's like your whole, it's part of you. The pain is in you. So that's an act of love. That's a real sign of love. Now, attraction, right? Loving myself in the relationship. So when I ask somebody, so why do you think you're in love? You're in love. Wow, I'm in love. So what do you think's the thing that you like about the person? Well, I'm attracted to them. They do great things for me. They cook for me. They make me feel good. All of those things are important. Right? But don't get me wrong. You can't be with somebody dating and they're absolutely unattractive to you. They are not doing anything for you. They're actually just frustrating for you. Right? That's not love either. Right? That's not going to get you there. So I need attraction. I need to feel like there's something that I'm getting from this. But that's by no means what love is. It might be the tool, one of the tools to get me there. And we already just said beforehand that attraction and chemistry is needed. Why? Because that's one of the ways of getting to love, but it's not love in itself. Normally, chemistry means how I feel, not how you feel. Chemistry is what's happening in my body right now, not necessarily anything to do with what's happening in your body. So when I'm on a date and I'm excited about my chemistry, I should know that that's an indicator that I can get love, but it's not love in itself. Don't confuse that and think that is love in itself. Okay, that's the very first thing. And the second thing is, we said knowledge, which is what Shira was pointing out, getting towards knowledge. So what does knowledge really mean? What does it mean to know someone? And Shira was mentioning looking at their virtues. So I want to say this because now that we've explained love, let's go into what it means to know their virtues and really get deeper into this, okay? So there's two types of knowledge of the person. When you date someone, there's two types of knowledge, okay? One is called the external knowledge, all about the externalities of the person. And the other is the internal knowledge of the person. What does that mean? That means the virtues, who they really are, the things that would never leave. Now, stay with me because this is really important. We have a statement that says, any love that's dependent on something, if you take away that something, you've taken away the love. Again, any love that's dependent on something, kol ahava tluya b'davar, any love which is dependent on something, you take away the something, you've taken away the love. Which means that you can have love through something, but if it's just that, then you take that away, you've taken away the love. For instance, if I love somebody because of their fame, because they're so popular on Facebook, social media, and so on. I love them. They're so popular, and that's what's causing my love. Well, if the internet breaks down and all of a sudden social media suddenly crumbles, there wasn't a COVID-19, there was an internet COVID-19, right? Something happened on the internet, everything crushed down. That guy doesn't exist. I mean, his social media life is gone. So when I say I'm attracted to somebody just because of their money, just because of all the things that they have, I'm not necessarily attracted to the actual person. Are those things important? Most times not, but a lot of times they are. In our culture, let's say, I do need to see that that guy like dresses nicely, you know. I need to know some things about them, you know, but it's definitely not a indicator of who that person really is. So if, let's say, Dave and Sarah are going out, Stacy, because that's the theme of tonight. So Dave and Stacy are going out, and Dave says to Stacy, you know, I really like the way you're dressing. And she says, wow, thank you. And then Stacy goes home, and as she's about to get into the door, the mailman is telling her, wow, great dress. Now, what's the difference between Dave that went out with Stacy and the mailman?
The mailman seems like a creep.
The mailman's a creep, right? So, well, nowadays he's a hero, but that's another discussion. But anyway, but what I'm trying to say here is that just because you're attracted to the externalities doesn't mean you have all the rights to be committed to this person forever. Many people are attracted to those things. Almost all males are attracted to those things in a woman. And all women are attracted to those things in the man. So what gives you the right to be the one that has this girl, or be the one that has this man, this good man? And it can't be just the externalities. It has to be something from within. Okay? So if I'm attracted just to the money, the cars, the clothes, all the things that person owns. Here's some examples of external knowledge. And some of these are important, but don't get me wrong, but they're not what is going to achieve love. Okay? They're not the indicators to true, long-lasting love. Because if you take those things away, you've lost everything about that person. There's a student that I once met in Oregon. He said, my parents got divorced last year. It was very sad. I said, what happened? He said, well, there was a recession and they lost all the money. Yeah. So I was thinking to myself, okay, but that's not a reason for divorce. You lose money, or maybe that was the reason why they got married in the first place. Maybe that was the cause of the love. Because you can like money. People like money, right? But that could have been the cause of the love. You take away that, what do you have? A monster. Suddenly you reveal everything. So what we need to look for when we're dating right from the beginning is the internal knowledge as well, not just the externalities, because those things can go away. The money, the cars, the clothes. Here's a point. What do you think this is? When I say she is knowledgeable, do I mean she knows a lot? Do I mean that she's or he knows a lot, right? The word knowledgeable, is that an external knowledge? Or do you think that's an internal character trait, an internal knowledge of the person? Are you with me?
Couldn't it be both?
I want to say, it seems like it could be both, right? But I want to say knowledgeable is an external factor of the person. It's not really the essence of who that person is. Just because they know a lot about a certain game online,
because they read a lot.
Because they read a lot about it, or just because they bought every single car magazine that ever came out since they were 5, and they know a ton about cars, is not the essence of that person. So that could be an attractive thing to you, but remember that's an external knowledge of the person. I know them externally, I don't know them for who they really are yet. I'll tell you what's knowledge if they're insightful. If I have a conversation with them and they give me some real deeper insight. To me, that is knowledge. That is really knowing the person.
Yeah.
Right? I know them, not just, there's some people that know a great deal about science. Some people that they're not into it. So you could talk to a girl, and if you value science a lot, and you talk about some scientist, and she doesn't know who you're talking about, right? So you could say, okay, she's not for me. That's it, done. She doesn't know who that scientist is? I mean, that's ridiculous. Well, you could not know about a basic scientist, right? You can not know about Darwin and still be a very insightful person. You could be very wise and not know about Darwin. Knowledge is not the indicator of who that person really is from within. Yeah. So what I want when I want for good dating, for effective dating, is that we're looking internally at this person. Here's some examples of internal knowledge, and then I'll leave you, Natasha, to say something. Internal knowledge is...
I think you're... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go on. What did you want to say?
I don't want to interrupt you.
Okay, just let me just say this point. An example of internal attraction, and this is what we should be looking at as well right from the beginning, is internal things as well. Not just their looks, not just their money, not just because these things are going to last forever. Is positive. They're a positive personality. They're insightful. They're kind. They're calm. They're humble. They have a lot of balance. They're well thought. Their thinking process. They deal with people well, right? Yeah. This is an example of internal signs of virtues, of character. And these are things I also need to look for. It's true I should look for other things as well. But I want to find compatibility in areas of the virtues, of the values. And are any of them checking the list that I have? When I ask people, right, what's your list of all the things you want in a girl or all the things you want in a guy? At the bottom of the list are the virtues. At the top of the list normally are what school they went to, what games do they play tennis, shared interest, like Shira said, right? Shared interest is nice, right? But it doesn't tell me about the character of the person. There's many athletes that run, and they're very different from each other. It doesn't mean that they should all marry each other because they're all athletes. Hey, I run the marathon. You should get married to me, right? That doesn't make sense. It's not because we are shared, we have common interests that deserves my right to committing for long term. It's the virtues, it's the character that's accompanied with the person that gives me the knowledge that I'm looking for. That's knowledge. Yes, Natasha and anyone else who wanted to throw in a thought.
I was really connecting to what you were saying because I think that there's the intelligence that you develop through, knowledge-based externally, as you said, going to school. And then there's the emotional intelligence. And I think that's the component that you're really emphasizing here, is to find someone with a high emotional intelligence will impact your whole relationship and your whole life together. Someone can be very smart, but they can learn more topics that you like and find those interests that you share together. But I think the character of the person, the soul, and the way they are in the world in terms of how they carry themselves, how they treat others, is so much more important. And I think you're right. In this world today, I've heard a lot of friends and people create like a list of things that they want in a guy. And it's kind of crazy to me. They're like, he has to be over 6 foot. He has to have this job and
no, he doesn't
speak this many languages. And no, he doesn't. That's what I said. I'm like, that sounds like you're going to have a really tough time finding someone. Yeah. Good luck. But it just seems like you said, you're not looking for those qualities that you listed. And those are such good qualities to look for. And I want someone who says our leg hurts. That's like the level that you've set now.
That's a great thing to strive for. I mean, make sure you don't strive too high. Yeah, but yeah.
That's like on the top like 5.
That's yeah. I mean, you develop that over time.
Exactly. Yeah. But just that type of soul where you're connecting on that level of they like empathize, not just sympathize. And
exactly.
That's huge.
Which gets you to love. So I wanted to also point out, which is very important to throw in, why this is so important. Why is it so important to have knowledge of who the person's virtues are and not just talk about all their externalities as the reason for your attraction? Okay, so here's a reason that it's so important. Stay with me because it's so relatable and so good. I once met somebody who has a great business. He's doing really well financially. His business is doing better than what his parents would have wanted him to do. Okay, his parents wanted him to be a doctor. He scrapped all of that and wasn't for him, and he went into business. And the business that he was in was making good money. In fact, it was making more money than a doctor. And he was going out with this girl who was really attracted to him. They were going out, everything was great, but their parents and the girl herself was mentioning how our family really wanted more of a doctor. And, you know, that's, to me, that's like me thinking, and this sounds extreme, you're not looking for knowledge of the virtues. Because if you look at the knowledge of the virtues, you'll say, okay, this guy's brilliant. I'm not focused on the circumstance of the person right now. Okay, he has a bad job right now, but look at who he is, right? I don't define the person by their current circumstances. I define them in the right way. I'm attracted to them, and I like their virtues. I like the way that they are. I like the way they talk. Fine, so they don't have a great job yet. But look at this person. Okay, fine, he didn't make it to he's 35 years old. He still doesn't have a good job. Fine, but everything, people don't always make it. You know, that's possible. I have money, we can manage. When I look at a person from the sense of virtues, my glasses that I'm wearing are completely different. I'm putting on a whole new lens. I'm looking at the person completely different. I forgive on certain things that are not important, and I get committed to somebody for life who is really meant to be for me, that could get along with me. I don't marry somebody. I don't marry a job. I don't want to be in a job. No one here, put your hand up if you say you like working in work all day, 24/7, and you prefer that than not having your own time to be self-developed and do your own things or own your own company. Right? I don't marry a job. I marry a person. And who's a person? Someone with good values, with virtues that are similar to the ones I want. That's what I should be looking for. So that's why it's so important when I look at a person, not just for the money, cars, clothes, attraction, their home, the fact that they play tennis or their knowledge. I'm looking at them because they're positive, because they're insightful, they're kind, they're calm, right? Those things. When I look at them for those reasons, so then I can push away their current circumstances. You know, oh, the guy lives in downtown. Fine, he didn't manage. He couldn't find a place here. So I won't define him by the stupidities that people define people in the wrong way. Because those things you can get out of, right? It's like somebody once came when I was a kid in yeshiva. He was like, dude, what's wrong with your shirt? It's terrible. It was in front of a lot of people. So I took off my shirt. I said, it's away now. Now, you still got something wrong, right? So the idea is, look, It's just my externalities. Take that away. Look at me for who I am. Forget the shirt, right? That had a dirt on it. It wasn't something I realized. I was eating quickly and it went all over, right? But it's not about, you take off the physical and now look at me. Forget about, okay, oh, your glasses are so messed up. Take them off, now what? Look at my face, it's beautiful, right? You know, if you're looking at me for who I am, I can always change those things. You look at me for my shirt, I can just change my shirt. You look at me for my glasses, I can always change them. Look at me for who I am, because that's the beauty. And that's what we should be looking for. So in short, what we're trying to say is that attraction, chemistry, knowledge of the person are all tools to getting me towards love. They are not love in itself. Okay? Love in itself is the act of allowing that other person to be within me. Okay? Allow it not just physically, but in my life forever. That's love. Making a commitment to marriage is a great sign of love. Right? I'm including you in me forever. That's love. So the verb of expanding yourself, of giving to the other person, focusing on the person, is the act of love right there and then. All the other things are keys to getting me towards real and true love. Attraction, chemistry, knowledge, and I want knowledge of their virtues because I want to know them long term. If I'm just knowing them for their physical things, that's not long term. I might like them, I might feel like I love them, but it might not last. So I want to look for their virtues to see if I can commit to them for long term. And once I do see those things, I can work towards the place of love. Those are keys to getting me towards love, which is the verb, the act of allowing that other person to be part of my life. Empathizing with them, not just sympathizing with them, right? Including them within me. That's the sign of love. When you see somebody with a young couple together and and you say, wow, they're so in love. Why are they so in love? Because they're holding their hands, because they smile to each other. Let's see them really showing signs of love when they're coming out of when no one's watching, when they're coming out of their bed. Are they still holding their hands? Right? When they're going to get a cup of coffee, or they're letting, these are externalities. So much of our defining of the people around, right? That love, it's looking at the externalities and not really seeing. Let me give you an example, okay? If a husband and wife are with their kids on a Shabbat table, okay? And he says to her, the food is so beautiful. Thank you, mommy. Right? The kids are watching. Thank you. The food is so delicious. I'm so grateful for you in my life. Everything is so brilliant. Thank you. Wow. Baruch Hashem for you, for everything that you've given me. Right? What do you think the child is learning? To respect their parent too? To say thank you too? Or to say, I heard you, mom. Right? They're learning to say what they would learn from that, to also be appreciative of their mom. Now, let's say there's a man who doesn't do that. He doesn't show appreciation for a meal, but he's always holding his wife's hand in the house. And whenever the kids are around, hey, honey, right? They're all on top of each other. And the kids are seeing that. But when they sit on the table, he's actually, what's with the salty soup? What's going on, yo? Omri, yo. Right? So he's like, yo, right? Dude, what's with the salt in the soup? But he's always holding a hand. But what's with the salt in the soup? Right? So he's got, his words are painful like daggers, but his physicality is amazing. Now let me ask you, what do you think the child's learning? Is the child going to be more loving to the parent? Is the child going to be more thankful to the parent? Is he seeing more love?
No.
He's just seeing physical things. He's seeing externalities. Holding hands in public is very cute, but it's definitely not an indicator of love. An indicator of love is saying thank you, is caring for the other person, is empathizing. That's an indicator of love. How do I know it? Watch the child of those two parents. And the child of the one that empathizes is going to be a great child to their parent. The child that doesn't will be a much more difficult. He sees a lot of physicality. Most likely it's to make up for all the bad that's going on. He's seeing a lot of physicality, but he's not seeing the deeper sense of love, which is the verb, the act, the ability to express and to expand yourself, that the other person's part of you. So that really is the idea. Okay, in short, am I attracted to the person? What am I attracted to? And these are all, am I attracted to external knowledge or the internal knowledge? And what we really want to look for is the internal stuff, who that person really is, what's their character, not what they have and they own, and what they can do for me. And once I have all these things, I am working towards true love. And that's what I want to do, is work towards true love. Are there any questions, thoughts, ideas? Do you want to add something?
No, you nailed it. I think you did a great job.
Okay, thank you. See? Real love right there.
Aww.
It's externalities.
Rabbi, so
yeah,
maybe this is a topic you want to save for weeks 4, 5, or 6. So we could talk about that because we can get deep down a rabbit hole about this. I was going to ask you, how do you check yourself when it comes to lust and fantasies? Because we talked a lot about externalities today.
So the externality is, okay, stay with me. What are the things that are, if I would take out a paper, this is one of the ways you can see this, take out a paper and say, what are the things I'm really attracted to in this person? And if everything that comes on my list are not the things that are really truly who that person is, then I know that I'm not yet attracted to who they really are. Right. That's good. That's okay. I'm attracted to them because of certain things, but I need to also look for internal things. Right. If I want a long-term relationship with this person, I do not want to base my long-term relationship only because they have money, only because they have those are good tools to helping the relationship get closer.
It's a bonus.
It's a bonus.
It can't be,
I want to emphasize that. We're not against it. We're not against money. We're not against good looks. We want you to be good looking. In fact, Judaism says you should look good for your spouse, right? That's an important thing.
Anyone else want to add anything or ask or share anything?
You could be silent. It's also good. Your faces are so beautiful.
I'm fine with that. I love looking at everyone.
It's nice to see Candice here tonight.
Hi, Candice. Yeah, I didn't even get a chance to say hi.
Yeah, I was going to say, internal knowledge is, are you self-aware, basically?
Good. Focused.
Yes. That's amazing.
Rabbi.
Yes, Joseph.
The intellectual, emotional, and physical aspects, those 3 things, that's from a book. What book are you getting this from?
Once given in Aish, I think Rabbi Noach Weinberg gave that original teaching.
Yeah, if you remember the book, let me know.
Yeah, but there's 2 books that we're using all the time, and we have a whole bunch of them.
This is one of them.
Will You Marry Me?
Yeah.
Okay, it's really good. I believe everyone should read it. So this is called Speed Dating.
Yeah.
And it's by Yaakov and Sue Deo, and they were actually rabbis of Aish back in the day. The idea of fish and being attracted to fish, that's written in a book by Rabbi Dessler. That was a long time ago. That was about 80 years ago at least. So, but there is also Gila Manelson's book, which is very, very good, and it's called The Magic Touch. And she talks about intimacy, and some of these ideas too.
Before marriage and all that stuff. Yeah. In case you're interested, these are some really great books.
Rabbi, why is it that Aish seems so big on dating?
Look, when you work with young professionals, it's different. When we worked on campus, dating wasn't a thing that we really spoke about so much because it wasn't really dating for marriage. No one was really dating for whatever, long term. So that wasn't really a topic. That's something that we kind of I think in the past 3 years transitioned into as people that we work with are older, you know, and thinking more serious about life and have more questions and want to have more directions. And that's when a lot of that, and I feel like Aish usually works with a lot of young professionals in general. So maybe that's something that's on people's mind.
I mean, I remember when we were on campus and there was this really cute, really good guy, and he was going out with this girl who was also very involved with us right at the beginning when we started. So Lindsay wouldn't know who we were talking about. But it was, they were going out and they were both very involved with us. So I was like, wow, this is so amazing. I was new to the world of young professionals and students. I mean, we come from a very different background. So I was like, you know what? We should have like a night out, you know, a date or something. Me and Shira and you and the girl, I'm not going to say their name. We should do something together. We should, you know, hang out. That's so nice. And he's like, Rabbi, it's just like college. And that's what he told me. It's just college dating.
It's nothing else.
He got scared. Like, why am I taking this so seriously?
And you're like, why?
Yeah, I couldn't understand.
Well, very soon after that, we realized, you know, when you're on campus for 5 years, there's no way you don't realize the culture, obviously, and you get connected to people, so they kind of educate you about it. Yeah.
Basically, what happened was he was getting overly hazed for his first year on campus. And she felt bad for him, and then she saved him, and then they kind of like went out. That was the story.
That was the
I'm joking. I don't know the story.
It's a good story, though. Hero, heroine, you know.
I mean, it happens. It's not out of the blue, this story, you know. We've dealt with those too. I mean, yeah.
It's believable also of getting hazed.
Of course. We should make a new series. Craze of the Haze or Saved by the Haze.
Oh my goodness. That would be it for college kids.
No, I'll act it out and Shira will be chugging down my mouth some beer.
I don't think
I'm down. I'd pay for that. Even
if you pay for that, I'm not up for this. You need
we do need to have
for that.
We need to have an Aish initiation hazing. Isn't that part of the protocol?
It's true.
Yeah,
you have to learn 2 pages of Talmud to get in.
I'm ready, guys. Whatever.
Listen, our way of hazing is 2 pages of Talmud. Read it.
Let's see you do that. Oh, that would be a real test, you know?
Anyway, are there any other questions about love? Or like, you all know this anyway, and I've heard all this before. What are your thoughts?
Everyone is pretty comfortable with themselves right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we can end now because I didn't realize, but it's at 9:47 usually.
Wait, someone was asking something? Anyone?
Did anyone say anything? I didn't see. I'm gonna move to the other screen. No, I guess not. Okay, I think we're gonna end now. We're going to say goodnight. This was awesome.
Good night. It was amazing. Thanks
you. Thanks for joining us. As always.
This was the best one yet. Thanks, Rabbi.
Yeah.
We appreciate
Toda, Shira. Laila tov, guys.
Laila tov. Toda in Shama. Wow.
I'm still here, you see?
I know.
I'm
dedicated.
That's awesome. Wow.
Hi, Ali.
Glad. That's amazing. Well, great seeing you as always. We'll see you very soon again.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Jack and Shira.
Oh, wow, you're awake again also. Wow, that's
hardly awake. It's 1 a.m. here.
Wow, look at that, people. Quite dedications, you know, I see that. I love it. Well, that's incredible. Again, if you have anything else that you want to add or comment on or ask, feel free to send any of us, you know, voice notes. We're very good at that. I keep getting those, you know, and I love it. And people know me, so they know I like to respond. Like, it's easier for me than typing. So if you have any of that or anything you think, again, that you would like us to include or talk about or whatever, anonymously, just reach out. We're here.
What's Meet Joe, by the way? Just thinking, looking at the chat.
It's the group on Facebook.
No. Rabbi, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I'm on it, guys, by the way.
They already know about it. Shira's in the group.
Yeah, I'm already on it.
What are your observations?
I mean, wait, who asked it?
Sorry.
Well, the truth is, I was added. Well, someone told me about this group, and then I said, well, what's the point? But then they were telling me, well, look, there's a lot of people actually from LA, potential people
really
to
grew.
try and match. But at this point, I just feel like that it's pretty surface level, and it's I don't know if it's the right time right now during quarantine. I mean, people are getting very excited about it, but if you really want something really serious, and the person is not local, I'm not sure how much you can do right now. So
Honestly, you can do everything you set your mind to.
I mean, I don't know.
No, I was like, I think
It depends
Ben
what's-
invited me to it. I joined, but I haven't really I see it.
Who's in it? How is it?
And you need to be
Nothing
lucky
to
enough
see.
that you have a good friend that knows how to write and how to sell you really well. So I think Becca is really good at that. So if anyone wants, reach out to Becca. She's
Thank you. I try.
Guys, if you really want, just post my picture and make it your name or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, pay dating service.
No, you do need to go on a
He's
talk
overwhelmed, Rabbi.
podcast on it.
What did you say, Julia?
I was like, Rabbi should host a podcast for the people, everyone on Meet Joe.
Well, you're joking, but we're thinking of, we're discussing it with Becca and with hopefully the
working on
people
it.
that's running the group, but maybe a dating series for these people. I think they need it.
Okay.
We'll see about that, Maybe it's gonna happen. Who knows? But anyway, yeah. This was awesome.
My brother's actually a software developer, and I was just talking to him, very successful. And I was talking to him, and he was talking about making this, because on a side thing, he wants to do something for the world to make a big difference. And he was talking to me about this concept called Find Me a Shadchan. He's going to change it, the name, but it's a concept of having someone else help you find, which is what the Facebook thing is doing, but it's basically using third parties to help you set each other up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's working on something on a bigger scale within the rabbinical community. So let's say somebody who's involved with us, we can also know all the other rabbis and have just a very clear, concise database between us and be like, hey, that guy could be good for your girl or your girl for our guy, whatever. We could be doing a lot of that, and we're not doing enough collaboration with all the leaders in the communities to try and help. We do a lot, but not enough when it comes to this aspect. So I think that's a really powerful thing that could be done.
That would be amazing.
It's more on the aspect of a third party in helping dating, which is something we believe in a lot, because not necessarily a rabbi, it could also be a therapist or someone else, but it's just, it helps a lot to have a third party, because then if you don't want to continue, it's easier to get out of. If you want to get involved, it's easier. There's no awkward feelings. So it's definitely always easier to start off with a third party or have someone suggest something, more officially than for sure. The worst is oh, who's that guy who checked me out on Instagram? And then why was he doing that? And then the guy feels horrible. The girl feels weird by doing it, so she never does it. And it's this constant awkwardness that you're in your mind of maybe I should, but he's going to find out or she's going to find. There's so much awkwardness when it comes to dating, and it could be solved through a third party. So we really believe in that. And it's not a religious thing. We happen to use it a lot, but I think it should be used more within our community. There's no bigger mitzvah than helping somebody get married. You're building a home. You're literally building someone's home. So if anyone here goes out with somebody and they can help somebody else with that person, if you didn't like them, so you think, okay, she's not for me, but maybe she's good for my friend.
Yeah, we've had quite a few of these, people that dated once, twice, a month, two, and then it wasn't the right fit, and then they suggested it, whatever, the guy or the girl to their friend, and it worked out.
It's a huge mitzvah.
It happened.
I think it's a major good deed. If you think of your friends and say, look, she's not for me, but maybe she's for someone else, or he's not for me, he's for someone else, and you set that up, major ticks on your book in the worlds above. Major things are done. We really believe
Rabbi,
it.
quick question.
Yes.
When it comes to like dating in general, as funny as it is, I actually spoke about this with someone previously. Like, what if you're dating a friend or you're going out with someone and it doesn't work out at all in any way, shape, or form, and then it goes completely downhill? Because I'll be honest with you, coming from experience, and probably everybody has been in this situation before, where you don't talk to anybody, like you don't talk to the person at all anymore. They're not really in your life. Like, how do you kind of avoid that, or even get around it?
So,
like, for example, let's say Aish LIT. If some people are dating, I don't really know. I'm not so sure what the deal is. But like, and then you guys go to this same meeting again. You guys go to Aish LIT. It's like, oh crap, what do you do? You
I know this is a big problem. I've been asked this question many times.
And people are actually dealing with it. It's not.
And people are dealing with it. It's a big question. And when I say big question, I mean I don't really know the full answer to it. Okay, so that's why I say it's a big question. But I really believe it is a big question. What I think is that one needs to think, how is my dating? Why is my dating doing this? What should really happen is, if it doesn't work out, that there's no hard feelings. That's what should really happen. So there's something sour in the way that I'm dating. Okay, that's the issue here. It's maybe it got too deep into a relationship before it needed to, and stuff like that. Maybe there is no answer to this. That's how it is. You get emotionally connected to somebody, and you break up. So it's a hard feeling, and there's no answer to it. But it's better you tried than you didn't try. Maybe it's better at least to try, and at least you went for it, and you went for someone who's attractive and is Jewish and right and could be for you. You'd rather not try at all, because that's absurd. So it's better definitely to try. And I do believe there's also a fault in the style of dating as well. In a religious community, let's say, if we would go on a shidduch, right? So I date the person. If we're not compatible, we'd say it, or I'd use a third party to mention it, that I don't think we're a good fit. And we're very open about...
And you can even see the person again. I mean, it's not like...
And you can see the person again. We're very open about the differences, and we move on.
Right. Well, like, the thing is that I'm trying to get to is, we live in the 21st century where not everybody does shidduch dating, unfortunately. Sometimes it very much works. Sometimes it doesn't. But also the fact where you're going in and there's a lot of physicality to it, and it kind of like blinds you,
Yep.
How do you kind of go around that type of scenario? I know it's kind of difficult because everybody's,
I tell you that's not the right way of dating. So that's why these things are happening. Yeah. That's my answer. It's like it's like, how do you fix something? If I'm doing a problem, how do I fix? It is a problem.
From my perspective, I don't think there is a way to make it easier if obviously the physicality and everything else is involved, and there is awkwardness after. I don't see a way how it's not going to happen. It's just by default, it will happen. And so some people do get over it, and they don't want to sacrifice their community because of one person that they dated. And they still, it's hard. And at the beginning, it's really like painful, but then they go through it and they're fine. And some people decide to, okay, so for the time being, I'm distancing myself from everyone just because of that person. There's two types of people, and they have their own decisions, what they want to be doing. And we still talk to both, but they don't necessarily come in the social circle for whatever time they feel like they need in order to get over something. So it really depends where the person is and how emotionally connected you are.
Got it.
So it works differently for people. Some people, like, if they jump into it right away, they keep seeing the person, and then it becomes normal because, like, they're still doing the same things, they're still coming to the same events and seeing the same friends like before. Then they make it normal very, very fast. But sometimes it doesn't work for some people. It's very different. It depends.
That was actually a really good point. Like
that's what I found with a lot of
jumping
people.
straight into it and not
not making it extra
awkward for long term.
And saying like, listen, I'm not gonna suffer because of you. Like, goodbye, whatever. This is my community too. I've been here. You know, we're both part of this family.
Amazing.
And I've heard it from people that are part of our, the family, and it happens. So it really depends what personality the person is and.
Yeah, I didn't mean to put it into like a full-blown conversation. It's just like I'm thinking about it in a realistic perspective, like
I agree.
People here are trying to meet other people, and I'm just a very upfront person, and I just want to.
I'm just a very single, available.
I agree. It cannot be that in a community that we have so many singles, for example, and people will be afraid to date each other. And I've heard that in the past because they really don't want to hurt their connection with the community and be part of the community in case it doesn't work out. But that's not the way of thinking that should be done, Maybe try and navigate your dating in maybe a different way just because you're both part of the same community, so you're more cautious about that. But you can't avoid certain things, if that's the dating that's going on,
Of course.
Yeah. Thanks for asking, because it's something that
I think it's probably on everybody's mind that nobody wanted to say.
Can I just say quickly that the shidduchim, sorry, Julia, just to throw, because I don't want to forget this point, but shidduchim, and in our circles, is not that I'm saying that, everyone needs to be like us or like that style. What I'm trying to say is that there's a lot to learn from. There's a lot of things that you can learn from that. Okay, what I'm trying to say is like, look, if you don't get too emotionally involved, you're going to solve yourself from many problems.
Exactly.
If you date in the right way, you're going to solve yourself from many problems. If you didn't, I don't know if I have all the tools.
There is no answer.
There is no answer.
There is no other way. I don't see, unless someone is, invent something that we don't know. But like, that's just how the human being works, It's just, there's no other way. So it depends, like we said, back to the personality. Some people decide to jump right after and as if nothing happened and suffer inside and then fine after a while, but some people don't. It depends. But I don't think it should stop people from checking out other people in the community in the right way, in a respectful way. Why not? Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Laila Tov. Have a beautiful
Laila Tov, Tzadikim.
Tuesday.